What's going on, family, and welcome back to another episode. We're just wave surfing again. Let me know where y'all checking in from, man. Dragon Canoe in the building. Happy to be here. Shabbat Shalom to the home team. We're just keeping the code, staying in check, searching for the Melchizedek. It is October 31st, and we're just doing what we do best, staying out the way, following the Most High, steadily rowing, and constantly flowing. We're going to get into some old world drop. We're going to touch on Hurricane Melissa. We're going to get into a little bit about the history of Jamaica. We're going to talk about some old world architecture, the connection to the United States, the path of the hurricane following Christopher Columbus's voyages. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. Y'all let me know. Leave a note in the comments.
I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My sore ran in the night, and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered God, and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah. Thou holdest mine eyes waking. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with mine own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. And I said, This is my infirmity. But I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy work, and talk of thy doings. Thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a God as our God? Thou art the God that doest wonders. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. Thou hast with thine arm redeemed thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters saw thee, O God. The waters saw thee. They were afraid. The depths also were troubled. The clouds poured out water. The skies sent out a sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. The voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lightened the world. The earth trembled and shook. Thy way is in the sea, and thy path in the great waters, and thy footsteps are not known. Thou leddest thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron.
The staff in your hand, Moses.
Blood!
Hotep! Hoy! Explain this to me!
Rest assured, Your Majesty.
Yes, we are going to demonstrate the superior might of our gods.
By the power of Ra! Abandon this futile mission, Moses. I've indulged you long enough. This must now be finished.
No, Ramesses. It is only beginning.
Moses, didn't you see what happened? The priests did the same thing. Pharaoh still has the power over our lives.
Yes, Aaron, it's true. Pharaoh has the power. He can take away your food, your home, your freedom. He can take away your sons and daughters. With one word, Pharaoh can take away your very lives. But there is one thing he cannot take away from you: your faith. Believe, for we will see God's wonders.
At daybreak, Katrina was roaring, and visibility was next to nothing. The 9 New Orleans firefighters riding her out inside the Lake Marina Tower couldn't see much, but heard plenty.
The wind coming through back here was, it was like a freight train coming through there, the howling noise it was making.
Just after 9 o'clock in the morning, Captain Paul Helmers, an 18-year veteran, saw something he wasn't expecting. Water rising in the back parking lot.
I would say about 10 minutes after we saw it rising, I was pretty certain that the levee had to be breached. It was rising at such a rate.
Helmers grabbed his video camera and went up to this top floor stairwell. With the building swaying, he searched and searched but couldn't see the breach until visibility cleared enough for him to zoom in a half a mile away to the water pouring in.
When I saw that, I'm sure my coworkers had the same reaction. My heart just dropped. Even though I knew the levees were breached before that, seeing it, and just knowing that the fate of the city was sealed.
Surreal. You took it in and you wondered how high the water was going to be in the city.
And you can see that the 6-foot wall is gone.
My first instinct when we saw the levee break was, this is bigger than 9/11. I thought that the fatalities would be in the, thousands, if not tens of thousands. So it was, it was heavy.
As soon as we saw the water come in the parking lot, I'm thinking people are going to be dying soon. That was my first thought.
By early afternoon, when the winds calmed enough, the firefighters swam out to find a boat. They found this blue one that today still sits along the condo parking lot wall. Captain Case hot-wired it, and they made the first of many life-saving trips into the neighborhood near the breach.
He was standing in his bathtub with water up to his chin when we got over there. And me and my firefighter, Pat Ball, took and broke the window out and was able to rescue him. He wasn't saying much. He barely could stand. And we got him in, and I don't think he would have made it much longer. The water was still rising at that point, and I think he would have surely drowned in the next few minutes.
I don't have to think about it too much. Too many people suffering. 4 too many people needed help.
You knew you couldn't get to them all.
No, we only had a crew of 9 men here. As you can see, there's thousands of houses.
The firefighters say there's a reason you haven't heard their story so many months after the storm. The video they shot of the levee breach was used in the recently completed congressional investigation. And while they testified, they were told to stay quiet about what they saw until it was over. And they say what they saw wasn't what was being reported in those first few months.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois. John Dickerson is on assignment. Hurricane Melissa has left dozens of people dead as it tore across the Caribbean islands of Jamaica, Cuba, and Hispaniola. It was downgraded today to a Category 1, but still dangerous storm. Melissa pounded Jamaica yesterday as a Cat 5, the most powerful hurricane ever to make landfall on the island. Jason Allen was there when it struck. Today, he got a look at the damage. And Lonnie Quinn is tracking Melissa as it heads now for the Bahamas. But we begin with Jason in Santa Cruz, Jamaica. Jason.
This was where a wall of water rushed down out of the mountains. It went right around homes and businesses. It picked up debris as it went, and it just went right through everything in its path. First Flight in Jamaica brought the first clear view of the devastation. Melissa made landfall yesterday as a Category 5 hurricane with winds up to 185 miles per hour. The monster storm stripped buildings to the studs and covered roads in mud.
It's very unlikely that we'll be able to resume school in any shape or form.
At St. Elizabeth Technical High School, Principal Keith Wellington showed us where the wind blew the walls off classrooms. The students and teachers at this high school, they sheltered in one of the concrete buildings on campus, but this is one of their classrooms. The roof ripped off in the winds, and the walls, they are all piled on top of the desks and chairs where they would have been sitting on a normal day.
We definitely will have to find a way to ensure that everyone is not totally displaced.
Tonight, more than 25,000 people are in shelters, and nearly 80% of the island nation is without power.
All of it, we still have to give our thanks for. It could have been worse.
You said that when you walked up. How could this have been worse?
Lives, many lives could have been lost.
The damage was overwhelming. The St. John Parish Anglican Church was built roughly 200 years ago. Today, the only thing left standing is the steeple.
That were basically exiled from the three kingdoms, from Scotland, Ireland, and Britain. First little piece of evidence. Look at the flag of Jamaica, look at the flag of Scotland. If you know your symbols, you'll know that this is the St. Andrew's Cross, or the Saltire Cross, basically that diagonal cross. Seen on different flags around the world, but basically wherever those flags are indicate that that place had something to do with England, Ireland, or Scotland. Okay, so if you don't believe that the flag and the Scotland and all that is a tie, here's another thing. If you know Jamaicans, you know that their names are eerily Irish, Scottish, or British, like Fitzpatrick, or Winston, or Cameron. I mean, these are just some examples of names, and the easy assumption is that, oh, you know, these black people got their names from a slave master, from the white slave master, whatever. But that is not the case. A lot of Jamaicans that have these names actually had these names from when they lived in the British Isles and were kicked out. There are a lot of these kinds of names that we don't even think twice of, or if you're black, you assume that you were just given it by a white guy, but that's not the case. The third clue that Jamaican people come from this part of the world, at least in recent history, is the use of Irish moss. Irish moss is not something that is common in the Caribbean or even like worldwide. It's something that grows in that region of the British Isles. Other places too, but it's common there. So my best guess would be that these people took some of their customs and traditions and knowledge from where they were and brought it with them to the islands. So I can actually show you some more evidence, actual evidence, that these people came from the British Isles. They weren't just sent to Jamaica, they were sent all over the Caribbean and the North American colonies, like that other piece said. But I happen to have a ship log from after the Jacobite Rebellion in 1745, when all of these different people were sent around. And if you look at them, you'll see their names, ages, heights, basic descriptions, personality, etc. But you'll also notice that it gives descriptions on what they look like. So here we have James Anderson, he's 5 feet, dark hair, pale, non-combatant. Below that we've got George Bain, 25, 5'5", black hair, swarthy. Swarthy means black, okay? I'm swarthy. Effie Cameron, age 28, black hair, swarthy. Captured at the fall of Carlisle. Anne Cameron, age 28, little woman. no description on her. Imprisoned, and her female child aged 2 months. So yeah, everyone was getting imprisoned and shipped around. We've got John Stewart, age 18, 5'5", brown, well-made, swarthy. We've got another John Stewart, also 18, 5'4", brown hair, well-made, ruddy. Ruddy, a description of ruddy is, I don't want to say red skin, but it's basically, it means red. So somebody that's ruddy has a reddish complexion.
Okay. So I'm going to go with George Cooper. All right, he's going to be my first person. All right, so let's get his record pulled up. And I apologize, my computer is running a little slow today, so if things take too long, I'll just re-record this. All right, so here we go. Now let's go ahead and pull up the actual record of how this census would have been taken back in these days. So back in 1790, a lot of times things were just written down in cursive on a piece of paper, just like this. All right, so we're looking for someone named George Cooper. All right, and George Cooper should be in, I believe this category here would have been the all other free category. So we'll see if we can find him. Okay, so here he is. George Cooper is in the all other free category, down as an Indian. All right, so I'm going to show you what tribe this actually ties to here shortly. So there's Thomas Dick, George Cooper, David Cicator, head of the Indian. Because this is exactly what it looks like it says here. So we're, they're getting pretty specific here. There's another person that's also an Indian. So we got a few people. So all these people are most definitely on this main page. Okay, so I went and I'm like, okay, where is it, like what Indian tribe would have been here? So I kind of have an idea, but I wasn't super sure. So I went back to Google, North Kingston, Washington, Rhode Island. So the main tribe that is located here is the Narragansett. All right, I'm sure some of you already know this, but for the sake of the video and the people who don't know, this is the tribe. So the Narragansett tribe, as we all know, is a black Indian tribe. All right, their tribal members, their chief, look as quote unquote black people, but they're Indians, just like we've been saying we're Indians. So just want you guys to know that.
From a medieval fortress to an art museum, the Louvre Palace has undergone 8 centuries of architectural transformation, making it an embodiment of French history. In the Middle Ages, to protect the city, King Philippe Auguste built a square defensive fortress between the Seine and the walls of Paris. 1.5 centuries later, in the heart of the city now enclosed by a new outer wall, the Louvre fortress was converted into a royal residence by King Charles V. François I used the castle as his main residence, but it was his son, Henri II, who had the first wing of the modern palace built, which would become a prime example of the French Renaissance style. When Henri II died, his widow, Catherine de' Medici, started building and designing the Tuileries Palace and its gardens for her personal use outside the city walls. King Henri IV had the Grande Galerie built on the waterfront to join the Louvre to the Tuileries Palace. At 460 meters, it was the longest building ever seen in Paris, and the first milestone of an ambitious project that would continue under his successors. At the beginning of his reign, Louis XIV had the Cour Carrée made to its current dimensions and extended the Tuileries Palace, where he lived before leaving the Louvre to move permanently to the Château de Versailles. The Tuileries was used as the seat of power during the French Revolution. In 1793, the Muséum Central des Arts opened in the Grande Galerie of the Louvre. Emperor Napoleon I created a focal point for the Tuileries Garden with the Arc de Carrousel, dedicated to his armies, and had a gallery constructed to unite the northern parts of the two palaces. To complete the works to unite the Louvre and Tuileries that had been ongoing since Henri IV's reign, Emperor Napoleon III boosted construction efforts and built new wings on either side of the Cour Napoleon. He doubled the size of the Louvre and completed the great architectural project undertaken by the kings of France. The Louvre survived the town fire of 1871 that engulfed the Tuileries Palace almost scathe-free. Once the ruins had been fully removed in 1883, the Louvre continued to change, acquiring its symbolic glass pyramid, marking the entrance to the museum in the 20th century.
You may go into Kerak, but you will die there. My master is here.
Tell my lord Salahuddin, Jerusalem has come.
I pray you pull back your cavalry and leave this matter to me.
I pray you retire unharmed to Damascus. Reynald of Chatillon will be punished. I swear it. Withdraw, we will all die here.
Finally, I'm doing this YouTube thing. Geomancy, where we are looking at the past to see ahead. I have uncovered a lot of stuff, and I want to share some of it with you. So why did I choose this name, Geomancy, and why did I choose this logo? Geomancy, as I'm using it, is the art of placing or arranging buildings or other sites auspiciously. Auspicious meaning for success or good fortune. For example, these are some sites that we can see that have some interesting characteristics. Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, planned in a very particular way. If you've ever been to D.C., you know that it is a city that is just so strategically well planned. Maybe not for driving, but for other reasons. And you can only see these if you look at them on a map, if you connect dots. So I want to shout out the video Secrets in Plain Sight by Scott Onstadt, because that is the first time that I ever saw this kind of information laid out such a clear way. If you have 4 hours, go study. Over here we have St. Michael's Lay. This is a line that connects different points of interest named after the Archangel St. Michael in various countries. And I might do a whole video just on that, but very, very interesting because they were all built at different time periods. If you know anything about St. Michael, he was often invoked to, well, legend has it, he was invoked to help build amazing structures and monuments all over the world, and then they're named after him. We have a St. Michael alignment in Great Britain, and this connects different points, all of interest, including Glastonbury Tor. So already we can see geomancy, there is some significance to it, and it has been practiced worldwide. I am using the spelling that I am because I'm using it as Geomancy, Earthmancy, which leads me to why did I choose my logo. So my logo is me depicted as a swarthy Moor, a Moor's head. The Moor's head can be seen all over the world in very interesting and unusual standards by our current narrative. Okay. What I've been told me is that this is where we come from. You were yanked from Africa, loaded up on ships, sent across the Atlantic, and then made to work the fields. Not a super flattering history. Also, we'll get into the logistics in the future, but highly unlikely that this was even possible. I mean, how are you going to pack that many people on a ship, send them across the ocean for months? You need to feed them. You need to have water. They have to go to the bathroom. There has to be basic things if your purpose is to have them work. The only way that slave thing really makes sense is if the people were already where they were and then they were enslaved somehow. So what we can see with my logo all throughout Europe, all throughout the world, I'm just showing you a snippet. But these are some places that show a Moor's head as the main thing. On heraldry, on crests, regalia. We've got Austria, Germany, Spain, Belgium, Slovenia. Okay, the Freising Moor's head, this is like the oldest iconography of the Moor's head in this town in Germany. From 1316, the Middle Ages. I guess that's a little after the Middle Ages. No, that's the Middle Ages. What if this is where we come from? Not that. So that is why I choose my logo. It's a reminder, and my catchphrase, looking back to see ahead. You notice all of these are looking back. They're all looking back. It's going to be looking in that direction. And I think there's some symbolism to that. Okay. So if this is what we see throughout Europe, right, then could that mean that the people in power maybe also look like that? I've recently discovered some of this information and some of these images, and I'm not going to go too deep into it now, but these are in Germany, okay? Saint Maurice and his companions. I have homies that look like this, right? They don't tell us in history or Black History Month, right? It's February, the shortest month of the year. They don't tell us that this is what people look like in these places. And there's reason for that. Saint Maurice, by the way, was the patron saint of the Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire is Germany today. Why would, if the whole slave narrative, as we've been told, was true, why would they make the whole saint a black guy? I don't know. So if these are the people that were in power in these places, could they have been the ones who were behind constructing these things? Perhaps. Right? This is the Cologne Cathedral. That's the Berlin Cathedral. It's weird to think that, like, in Middle Ages or you know, the early modern period or any of these different time periods we're told that peasants were capable of this, and that's a theme. So this gets us into the idea of history being reset, identities erased, and things restarted. If this was built hundreds of years prior, perhaps by people that look like this,